I got to dip out at 3:30.
Okay. Well, we're recording, just so you know.
Oh, snap. Oh, snap. Hey, everybody.
That's perfect. I like that intro. Tony has to leave at 3:30, guys. What's up? It's Kate. We're back at All Things Comedy for Date Fails. Tony Baker is in the house, my part-time co-host. You were gone for what, like a month?
Man, yes.
You've been gone forever. Where were you? You were like overseas international?
I did a cruise for like 7 days, came back, dipped out right behind that and did Japan. Like Korea, Japan, and then...
Were you doing armed forces stuff?
Yeah, performing for the Marines out there, so...
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'm back. But then I leave again. I got to do Vegas for 2 weeks, so I'll be going again.
Wow. Was the cruise for fun or for comedy?
Comedy.
Oh, that's so fun.
I don't do nothing for fun,
You really
Kate.
don't. I know. I don't
no
either.
time for
I haven't
that,
been
man.
on a vacation in so long, which brings me to my next guest, who I think you were just on vacation, right?
I was just in Korea and Japan.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
vacation?
Yeah.
Oh, you
This
lavish,
motherfucker
huh?
takes vacations.
Right?
Everyone I want to introduce from Two Broke Girls and hilarious stand-up. I love your stand-up so much. You're so funny. Jonathan Kite, everyone.
Yeah. On my own cheering section. I travel a lot, and the funny thing was, I remember I went on one cruise one time. That's a hard job.
It is.
For stand-ups.
Yeah.
I remember the people will stick around, and then they start to like leave as the stand-up goes, because you have to do it clean enough, unless you're, I think... Because one of the guys was like a clean show, and every time his jokes would bomb, he goes, man, you got to come to the 10. The 10, I'd be crushing it.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, it's 5, so can you crush it at 5?
That's crazy, though, doing stand-up at 5 p.m. That's so awkward.
Yeah.
And are there kids at these shows?
Yeah, most definitely. In the front.
Yeah. Oh, and they think, at what point, like, that's the thing, you know, you never see, when we do club shows, you never see kids, or like maybe if it's like a special thing for kids. But what parents, they're just trying to shut their kids up for an hour.
Yes. Yep, that's all it is. And a lot of times the audience is uncomfortable because they're looking at the kids' reaction to your joke instead of just fully engaging in the show. They're just like...
100%.
It's different kind of racism.
Yeah.
It's like,
basically.
Yeah, when somebody looks at something, they're like, is he laughing? Okay, then we can laugh, then we can laugh.
It's so awkward. I've done shows where kids show up. Like, have you ever done a show at a comedy club where someone brings their kids and the club is kind of like, all right, you can take them? It is the most awkward experience.
I was in a movie theater and somebody brought a kid to Saw.
Wow.
Shut up.
Yes.
How old was the kid?
Pretty young.
Too young.
Wow.
Too young.
Too young for Saw.
I'm not even ready for Saw.
Dude,
I'll be in there like, I can't.
When I was a kid, I used to watch horror shows with my dad, like in bed late at night.
Oh, yeah,
Does
you
that
used to
sound
do that
creepy?
too? No.
Yeah. So, but I actually think this is probably so fucked up, but I still like, I think that's part of the reason why I'm really into like being beat up and choked, and like, I think because I watched all that horror shit from when I was really young, and to me that all seems
That's
normal.
how you treat a woman.
I think
Beat up and choked.
That's it.
That's romance.
I
Jason
do.
Voorhees always got chicks.
That's romance.
He always
Okay.
got him in the end.
Yeah.
It's true, because I'll watch Law and Order SVU sometimes, and it's supposed to be like the creepy scene where the girl gets attacked, and I'm like, that's kind of hot. Like,
Yeah, that's romantic right there.
You know, it's funny is Mandy Patinkin, who's been on forever.
Yeah,
I think Mandy
yeah.
said this. He said someone's like, how do you like being on Law and Order or whatever the show he's on? And he said something like, I don't know if I would have done it if I knew there was going to be this many rapes. Or something like, because every episode is a woman getting violated or raped or murdered or something.
Yeah.
And it's like, they do 22 of those a year. And that show's been out for like 20 years or something.
It's heavy, man.
That's
It's
a
real
lot.
heavy.
It's heavy.
Yeah.
Because Law and Order was just Law and Order at first, and it was like, we need to get these rapes in here.
Yeah.
So Law and Order SVU.
This is you and me as the executive producer. Like, these rape episodes are testing a little bit higher.
We need the
one that is exclusively rape. Law and Order at rape.
Rape only.
Rape
But you
only.
guys, if you notice, the SVU one is the only one that has survived long term. Like, the SVU one is the most popular.
Yeah.
That's the rape one, and it's still on. I think the other ones
still
aren't
on.
even on anymore.
Yeah, Law and Order finally went off. I think it had a good 15, 16 years, and they was like, you know what? I think they just tapped out because they were tired.
Those aren't raping numbers.
Yeah.
You can go
We need the
forever.
rape in here, man.
Well, how many? That's the thing. Like, you're running out of crimes. Like, I used to do a joke with my friend where we were like pitching petty crimes afterwards, because they were like, well, one show has all rape covered. So then you have the original, and you're like, well, shoot, we can't go to rape anymore. What do we got? And they're like, I don't know, man. There's like a kidnapping, and they're like, no, we ran out of that
We
season
did
8.
that already.
Yeah. So like, what crimes are you still committing? Season
nothing left.
16.
Right.
Right, like no one wants to watch you rob a gas station again for the
Again.
45th time. Yeah,
They think they've seen the episode,
Yeah.
every time.
so people just shut it off.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, I saw this.
True.
He
So
robbed the
funny.
shell.
So
And then they go to court after that. The second half is court. 'cause
Yeah.
it's
Court is
law
boring.
and
Right, right.
It's so
Yeah.
boring. That's
Yeah.
why I don't
I
understand.
shut it off after Law.
Yeah, because
For me, it's a half hour.
Once they go to trial,
Yeah, come on.
and the
I don't need this
That's
order
it.
shit in my life.
The district attorney walks
I'll
in.
turn on
like,
Judge
Right?
Judy. That's a better courtroom.
No
than-
shit. It's
I hate
basically
her.
like sitting through jury duty watching a whole episode of
Basically.
Law and Order. Why do you hate Judge Judy?
I hate her, man.
She's
It's
such
her
a bitch. She
attitude.
scares
Her attitude
me.
sucks.
I can't deal with it.
No.
I can't.
She's such a
I would go to
bitch.
jail in her courtroom.
Well,
I'm like,
yeah.
man, fuck your couch, Judge. I'm in jail. I'm in jail, man.
I like my favorite thing about those judge shows are when they show all the B-roll footage where they're like where they try to put the music over it and they do weird like Instagram filters over the people, but the guy they're filming is literally just thinking about what he has to do after the show,
Absolutely.
and they're making it seem like he's thinking about murder or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there's this one where there was like a rack shot where there was a woman in the background, so it literally looked like they superimposed a woman behind him being like, "I got you," and then she was behind half a brick wall, so you're like, oh, they're like doing some weird storytelling, and at the end of like the clip, she put her hand on his shoulder like she was there the whole time. Hilarious. And I was like, man, that some guy
Well
who went to
done.
film school is like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm
Very
gonna make
proud.
this degree
Make
work.
this, man. Come on.
Oh God. Yeah, I probably have a warrant out right now because I've blown off jury duty this year like 5 or 6 times.
You definitely do.
I know. I keep getting the notifications and I just throw. But someone told me if you just throw them away and you never acknowledge that you got it, they can't prove it.
That's true, and I've heard that. And by the way, when you listen here, you learn. And I'll tell you what happened. This one, I was supposed to go last year. I was going up to Vancouver Yucks to do a set or to do a weekend, and they were trying to convince me, the judge, that like the trial wouldn't go that long. And I was like, number one, you can't say that publicly,
Right.
because she's like, because when you raise your hand, who can't do it? And there was people who were really sick, or one of
Yeah.
them was a caregiver, and he was like, this old man depends on me. So they're judging you. Suddenly I'm on trial to
Yeah.
see if I'm going to make the jury. And so I raise my hand and I go, I have a job that the contract is for, and it was hard to get because those jobs in Canada, like you have to go through all of the
Right.
Right.
all of the like the Federal Bureau of International Business or whatever. You have to
Yeah.
fill out all these forms and shit. So it'd take me a long time to get it. And then she was like, "Oh, I don't think this trial is going to go very long." And I'm like, "The victims are
judge said
sitting,
that?
in the room." I'm like,
That's
I don't
crazy.
think you legally can say that,
No.
Your Honor." And
the
so,
judge is like, he's already guilty.
Yeah, that's what
it's
I
gonna
mean.
be one
It's gonna
day.
be
That's what I'm
opening
That's
shot.
crazy.
Yeah. And she just started winking at me. I'm like, what?
She
the-
winked.
No, no, I'm kidding.
She was
Oh,
trying to
I was
bang.
about to say.
She was
Yeah.
trying to bang.
Yeah, she's like, oh,
She was like, I watched 2 broke girls. I want to fuck.
I want to see you in my quarters.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I'm
what?
naked underneath this
Yeah, this robe.
I just got a collar and
Wait,
nothing else.
She's like, oh, I'm out of a gavel. Can you give me something to bang? I'm like, what are we doing right now?
Wait, this is what I want to talk about because we were talking before. So, Tony, I rode up here with Jonathan. We rode the long drive from Hollywood to here together.
Felt short though.
It did. It went really quick.
It did go
It was like a
too
great
quick
first
for
date.
me.
If we weren't both comics, I would like fall in love with you.
We get along so,
So
well.
well.
We really
I
do.
Get rid
know.
of your dumb rule, Kate.
What?
Get rid of your
No,
dumb rule.
the no dating comics
Yeah,
rule?
get
That's
rid
not
of that.
dumb.
Get
It's
rid
not
of
dumb.
it.
Would you date a comic?
I have, and I think I would date if I'm connected to somebody. But I think the thing always with weird about comedy is
Yeah.
that you. So for me, I don't really talk that personally about my life. Like right now, I'm actually talking about the first job I ever had, which is like a big deal for me, just because a lot of the stuff that I did was very like I do impressions, but I do like character situations, and I kind of like relate them to me, but not like I've obviously heard your stuff a bunch, and it's great because it's super personal, so it's your stuff.
Yeah.
But for me, like, because I came to the comedy game so late, I got on the show and then I was like, oh, I'd love to do stand-up. I really worked at it. I took a different approach. So when I hear other comics who are in dates, you're like, oh, I know who that person is talking about after they broke up.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then so like they're getting vicious
That's
against
why.
one another.
Yeah.
That's why?
That's
the only
Well,
reason?
it's not about being in the material. That's part of it
Mm-hmm.
for sure. But it's just like, because I dated a couple comics,
Yeah.
but one really that I liked.
Don
like
Rickles.
Only one. Don
Don
Rickles.
Rickles?
May he rest
Now we
in
can talk about it because he's gone. We can never say it.
best head of my life.
Yeah.
Gabe.
Rick-
No,
else?
But so when it ended with this comic,
Who was it?
Doesn't matter.
Okay,
Things were
okay.
super fucking awkward for so
Yeah.
long. We would do spots together. I'd have to bring him up. He'd bring me up. It was just like, it's like comedy, you're already bearing your soul, right?
Right.
And my shit is super personal. I talk
Yeah.
about being crazy and all the fucked up shit I do to guys. And then I got this motherfucker in the back of the
watching
room
you?
like, yeah, she does. That
Yeah.
fucking, like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just.
Facts.
Stop
yeah.
laughing that hard.
Yeah.
That's
you know?
me she's talking about.
Plus,
Yeah.
one time I called him on the phone. We were fighting. We were like text fighting, right? So I'm
Yeah.
like, fuck this, I'm calling him. So I called him. He doesn't pick up. He sends me to voicemail. So I called him again. You know when someone's texting you back, but they won't pick up your call
Yeah,
and you're
I do that.
So I'm like, fuck this motherfucker. So I call him again, doesn't answer. Call him again. I called him like 3 times, right?
I've done that.
Finally, he picks up the phone on speaker and
Had
he's
you-
like, hey, Kate, what's up? I'm in the car with blank, 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 like 4 other comics. He's like, how would you like to ruin our day? That's what he did. And I was like, we can talk later. Quick. I hung up. But in my head, I was like, fuck, this is why you don't date comics.
Wow.
Well, that for me, they wouldn't.
That was
nobody
petty,
would do-
though.
Yeah,
On
it was
his
petty
part.
as fuck.
On his part,
Yeah.
Petty
So,
motherfucker.
so if you're listening,
So if you're listening, but you're not.
but that's the
might.
thing. For me, I don't talk about personal stuff, so no one would have to worry about that from me.
Yeah.
But I think that there are certain things, not about me, that people would talk about, but I know people would vent. Like we all tend to vent, and if you have a public space and an audience to do it,
Yeah.
if we went through
Yep.
something, shitty or stupid or petty or whatever, my fault, their fault, then that could be like the basis of their material.
Well, and also, people at comedy clubs, one thing a lot of comics have in common is we drink after our sets sometimes. So
Yeah.
there you are at the Comedy Store getting a little buzzed, and you feel closer friends with comics than you are because, like, don't you think, like, when you meet a comic, you could be in Japan and you meet someone who does stand up and you already have a bond with them that you wouldn't have with a normal person.
Right.
And you start sharing, and then before you know it, you might give up too much information, and then, there's a small circle. And
Oh,
it's just-
yeah.
Oh, most definitely.
You
Yeah.
air your dirty laundry.
Yeah.
Not meaning to.
Yeah.
Because
No,
I
no.
definitely see why you wouldn't date a comedian. Because I've dated one too, so I feel the thing. But like I wouldn't. I don't put it in my rule book not to date one again. But I definitely don't like the vibe of the awkwardness.
Yeah.
Right.
But
But
it's
yeah,
gonna
but
be
you got-
awkward regardless.
That's the thing. Listen, you love who you love.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I don't
Aw.
want to cut something off just based on a. Nah, you a.
Yeah,
You a
but
school
I
teacher.
was talking to Rich Voss the other night at the Comedy Store, and he was like, "You have to date a comic. Comics can only date comics." And he's like, "They're the only people who will ever get you." And I was like,
We'll
"What?"
definitely get the lifestyle.
And then I was talking to another girl about it, and she was like, "Well, think about it. If you're like a born again Christian, you date other born again Christians because you have the same belief system." She's like, "If you're a comic, like for instance,
That sort of is our cult.
right? Like this
Yeah.
is horrible, but like the shooter in Cleveland the other day,
Uh-huh.
Stevens or whatever. His name was Steve
The Facebook
Stevens,
killer,
the
yeah.
Facebook killer.
name was Steve
Okay,
Stevens?
so I'm from
That's like a fake
Ohio.
name.
No, it's his real name was Steven Stevens, and that's the thing. I'm from Ohio, and
His last name was Stevenson. His
Steve-
middle name was Steven. No, I'm kidding.
no,
Steve Steven Stevenson.
His name was
Stephen,
Steve
Stephen Stevens.
But that's the thing is that everybody in Ohio that I know was like posting about it, and it was
Mm-hmm.
Easter, and everyone was like so sad and stuff. And I was like biting my tongue as hard as I could not to tweet like, of course he's a killer. His name is Steven Stevens. Like his
Right.
parents fucked him from birth. Like,
Right.
but I was holding it in. But then I said it to a comic friend, and we were laughing about it. And I
Yeah.
was like, see, comics. I mean, it's horrible. I didn't want to make the joke so soon, but
Yeah.
comics see the world
We
different.
get it.
That's it.
We
We
do.
get it.
But I think sometimes you need the break because I haven't dated a lot of actors or actresses out here. I mean, so it's like you need like variety in your life. And if you
Yeah.
guys are coming from
Yeah.
the same point, I think that's what's hard. Because like I want to date somebody sometimes who has very little of the same interests. I mean, we need to have core interests,
Right.
But the thing is, after a while, you think like you're doing the same thing. Because that's
True.
what my friends are like.
Yeah.
That my friends is similar like me.
True.
So maybe my girlfriend or my wife, I want to be different. Yeah,
I definitely see the appeal of dating somebody that's not in that realm at all.
Yeah.
Like she's not in the social media. She's not in the comedy, whatever.
Yeah.
It definitely has its appeal. But sometimes when they be like, you got another show, you always out of town, another comedian to get that. Oh, you out there? Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, for sure.
We get it.
But there's people who travel all the time. Like my mother growing up was in sales, so she traveled all the time.
Flight attendant.
And
There's people.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
people that
Definitely.
travel, and so we just happen to. I think that there's a thing for people who don't know comics, because I'll talk to people who don't really know anything about our business, and they think that we make all of our money in town.
Right.
Which is like
That's
the
so funny.
opposite.
Absolutely
Right.
not.
And I'm
Right.
like, no, you think that these people go, no, you just wanted to go see Idaho? I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's like,
Right.
you go there because that's where the money is.
That's where the money
But
is. That's
people
what
don't get that. They don't.
No,
I don't
of
think
course
people think of
not.
like when they see guys on the Tonight Show, like Seinfeld or whatever, that he made, or Louis, they made their life touring.
Right, exactly.
And then they got shows or whatever, and then it
Right.
became a different identity for them. But
Well, and also that I think people think you make so much money when you do an appearance like the Tonight
Yeah.
Show or Chelsea, or like, you know, comics that are on Chelsea all the time. Like, I don't
set
think
for life.
Yeah,
yeah,
I don't
right.
think people realize like
Yeah.
they're getting like $500 a
Right.
pop.
what
like,
about
it's not
here
that-
in town? People go like, why do you do the shows here? And I go, I really like the community. I have fun. It's a great outlet for me. And then someone's like, well, what do you get paid? And then I tell them
$15.
Yeah. They're like, per what? I'm like, yeah, not per joke,
set.
per set.
per
Yeah.
joke.
Yeah, they don't get it. Like and to them that seems crazy, but we do it because we love it or we need it or whatever it is.
Right.
And we have to go out of town.
Right.
afterward.
Yeah.
I was like talking to Eric Myers one time and we were laughing because he's like, comedy is the only job where people lose money doing it. Like, he's
Yeah.
like, people will drive, like comics will drive from LA to San Diego to do a show for $50.
$50.
They're spending $100 on gas
Yeah.
and food, and it's just like crazy. But comics just want that stage time. They're
Yeah.
hooked on it.
You got to do it.
Yeah.
Because then if you really love it and you keep doing it, it's going to pay off in the end.
Eventually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to put in your time. It's pretty much the road or whatever those free shows. It's like it's the only school.
Yeah,
That you
there's-
have to go
Absolutely.
that you have to graduate from that in order for someone to say, hey, we want to pay you now for this.
You know, I've
Absolutely.
always said about the business out here that, like, when I came out here, that I took a couple years and I didn't have a job, and I went into a little debt, getting on stage every night,
Yeah.
taking classes, all this stuff. But I looked at it like a like a student loan.
Yeah.
Like, you have to invest in any business. This is no different. You know.
Absolutely.
And you have to weed out the business can't weed you out. Like, you have to find the jobs.
Yes.
Because this is the one thing where anybody who says they're a comic is a comic. Like,
Right.
if you do, like, I do open mics, which isn't to say that they aren't comics, but in order to get to that next level, like,
Right.
you have to prove to either the club or anybody to take you on the road, whatever, that you're worthy of that time.
Sure.
Right.
Well, it's like actors. It's like when I meet guys on dating apps and I go, "What do you do?" And they go, "I'm an actor." My initial response always immediately is like, "Oh, so he has no job." Like, that's the first
Yeah.
thing I think.
Or,
Unless, you know,
or you'll get hooked up at Olive Garden, wherever he works.
Yep.
Yeah, because that's the thing I had to say when I started working as an actor. I always had to say working actor.
Yeah.
Because for us, like my friends and I, like you guys are working comics, but like I would never say, "Oh, Tony, what do you do for a living?" You're like, "I'm a comic." Yeah, you're
Right.
at that level. When with actors, there's so many people that claim it, and I didn't realize it because I think I didn't call myself an actor until I got paid for it.
Yeah.
And so, but I realized like, oh no, everybody was calling themselves an actor
Yeah.
in the world.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. I hate when guys ask what I do now. This is weird. Like, okay, so last night I'm on this dating app called Happen. Are you on Happen?
I had been on it before but not for a long
Well,
time.
now
When
you kind of can't.
Well, now I'm like, hey, what's up? Happen, hit me up. No, but that is the reason I found out about it is a buddy was on it because I was trying to do jokes about dating apps, but I was like, there's got to be one creepier than Tinder, and it's Happen.
Happen is so creepy.
So my buddy told me about
Yeah.
it. My buddy, who lives in Texas, I'd never heard of it, and it's got, what is it started? Was it Spain or France? It was definitely
Oh,
started
I don't know where
in
it
Europe.
started. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but I.
Is that why they spell happen wrong?
Yes. Yeah.
It's spelled Happn. There's no
Yes.
E. Happen.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Slick
But
bastard.
it's the craziest.
Well, so what it does for the people that don't know is it tells you who's closest to you by exactly how many, it can be feet. Like I had a
Yeah.
guy the other night, I matched with this guy, they're like, John is 800 feet away. I was
What?
like, holy fuck, like he's here in this room, 800 feet. And then it tells you how many times you've crossed paths. So
That's
like,
how they caught El Chapo.
shut up.
No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
He was on
believe
Happen. He's
that.
like, he's
Right.
800 yards. Let's get him.
Could you imagine if you're so dumb, you're a criminal, you're like
Right.
on there. But like, so I matched with this guy, right? And he's super hot. I've matched with a couple. That's what's nice about the app is that you go, oh, this guy's super hot. I've crossed past him 18 times at this location. He must work out at my gym. He's probably in shape. I can kind of like figure out
Okay.
some shit about people before I talk to them. But so the first thing he asked me is, what do you do? This is the one app I don't have hooked up to my Instagram because I actually want to meet someone, so I don't want them to be able to look into my shit. He asked me, what do you do? I said, I'm a comic. I shouldn't have. I should have said I'm like a waitress or some shit. But he was like, what's your IG? Then he looked up my IG. I swear to God. Then he's like, oh, I have this music video coming out tomorrow. Would you mind plugging it? And I was like, fuck, this is the problem. Like, this must happen to you. I mean, do people meet you and like want to hop on your dick, then hop on your show?
You know what's funny? That happened to me one time.
Yeah.
And I only heard about it through a friend of a friend who knew the person. And it was the craziest thing because it never entered my mind. People, number one, I have no power anywhere for that show. Like, people don't understand that, you know, unless you're like the executive producer or head writer, you can't. Like, everybody kind of throws everybody into a famous bubble in their brain. And how we're all these all-powerful people who are like rich and can do anything we want.
You can't.
Nothing can be. I know. I'm. That's why I'm here today. I'm doing a promotion tour.
Yes.
Yeah. Be like bullshit tour with Kite, where I'm just dissuading rumors. I'm not even like, I have no jokes. I'm just telling you guys, stop hitting me up for this shit. I don't have the number to the casting director. I do, but I won't give it to you. And but that's the thing. Like, you don't know this stuff. And for me, my friends initially, like, when I got the show, number one, we had no idea how big it was going to be initially, but all of my friends thought that we were just going to start fucking like immediately. Like, they thought we were going to be Entourage. Then Entourage came out, and I was just like, it doesn't work that way. Like, number one, like you said off mic, like, I look like a completely different guy. I have an accent on the show.
Yeah.
You know, people like cab drivers will say to me, have you ever seen the show Two Broke Girls? And I'll be like, yeah, a couple times. And they'll be like, this is so weird, but you look like this guy who's on the show. And has anyone ever told you that? And I used to say, yeah, my mom tells me all the time.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like one day she came up to, I did NACA in Minnesota a few years ago, and I was my mother came up to see me, and we were at a coffee place, and this guy goes, hey man, have you ever seen the show Two Broke Girls? And my mother just goes, it's him. And so, like, just because people they think in my position that we're going to be recognized, like, you think because everybody recognized Leonardo DiCaprio that's just like a thing that everybody. Right. But I think people don't, like you were saying, especially in this town, people don't care.
They really don't care.
Like, for me, I think it doesn't really come up what I do. Like, if I'm even at a bar, 'cause that's the thing is I think I'm bad at meeting people. So, like, I'm in a group of people, like, I think I'm good, but it's never just like all my friends met their wives in like really amazing, cool ways. And my buddies and I are like cut to like us at 4 a.m. eating pizza on Sunset. Like, we don't, it's not that thing. And like, everybody assumed because I have the TV show that would be like my reality show on E after Shots of Sunset.
People really think that you get a show and you're immediately, first of all, super famous, can't walk down the street, girls are throwing themselves at you. But most of the guys, I feel like most of the guys I know who are famous actually have a harder time meeting girls than guys I know who aren't famous, believe it or not, because I think it's like they're a little more on the defensive about why.
Yeah.
Although you'll probably fuck them. I mean, do you get any fame pussy?
I mean, not as much as like, it's so funny, like, because I've talked about this with my other friends, because I have other friends, by the way, in my position who do all the time.
Really?
And so they either look like the guy, or like maybe like I'm not, at night I go out and do stand-up, and maybe they go out and do, because it's so funny.
That's
my friends are like, I'm at
is.
the club, and I'm like, I got 2 shows on Saturday.
That's
I'll
what
try
it
to see you
is.
guys at like 1 a.m. when everyone's blacked out. So like, because our weekends are our best, I think, in town, the best shows here. So for me, I'll turn down a club thing to do stand-up every time.
It is really hard. Yeah, it's hard to meet someone, right?
But you're last comic, right? Yeah. So what happened? Did anything change from you there?
No.
Because you were featured a lot.
Yeah. Nothing's changed. Like, people recognize me from it, but in terms of like, and I forget just the power of social media and stuff like that. People recognize me from that.
More from Instagram?
Yeah. Like, people will remember me. They'll remember me vaguely from Last Comic. They'd be like, I thought you looked familiar. Then I heard the joke, and I was like, he was on Last Comic. But a lot of people recognize me from social media. Like, even in the Bahamas, this lady pulled up and was like, yo, Tony Bacon. I was like, That's crazy. And I never take it seriously enough to where I'd be like, don't nobody know who I am. But people do, and I'm just like, oh, okay. But as far as the women, I can't tell if it's because of that or it's just genuine interest. I can never tell the difference.
But both you guys are cute and funny. which means like probably a girl, like the fact that you have the show, the Instagram following, the credits, like that's icing on the cake. But even if they met you and you didn't have that, they'd probably be interested.
And that's the thing. It's like I can't tell.
Well,
if
LA's
you're
a
just here
weird
for that.
place
Yeah.
because I know, like, and I'm not saying that men and women. I think like a lot of it is like networking in life. You know what I'm
True.
saying out here, and it's just because we're such a social business, and especially now with social media,
Yeah.
that it's really elevated. Because I've been out here for 14 years, and when I first was out here, you would have to go out, and I wasn't doing stand up, but you'd have to go out to meet people because that's literally how I met my agent, or like it was so funny, like the way that where people would say like, oh, how do you make it? Like that was always a question I got asked, and I was like, I went to a club one night and this guy was like, hey, I think you're a fun guy, do you want to come in and like have a meeting? Like that was the only way I knew how to do things, so I would audition and stuff, but literally going out was such an essential part. And now
I think that's still kind of true.
no, it's even more so
Yeah,
now. I think it's even
yeah.
elevated more.
I do too.
Because you want to make it seem like even when you're at home in Netflix watching that you're out like killing it.
Isn't that so funny? Like there are nights I'm sitting at home eating ice cream and I'm like posting photos from like a year ago when I was out at a club because I wanted to look like I have a life.
Because it always looks like Kate is doing
I
something.
know.
She's somewhere. I'm like, man,
It looks like
Kate
she's homeless.
stays
She is
doing
never
something.
in a
Right.
house.
She's never
I've
at
never
home.
seen her
She
apartment.
is never at home. I'm
2
like,
a.m.
man,
You're at the gym now?
How does
Listen,
Kate do this?
That's because my place is such shit. Oh, which leads me to, oh my God, I'm so happy to have two guys here. This is something I've been wanting to talk about forever. And I feel like so many girls probably wonder the same thing because I get embarrassed to post from my place or have people from my place because I live in a shit neighborhood. A guy came to pick me up for a date one time and he said, it looks like I live on the set of Thriller. Like that was his exact, my neighborhood is so bad. My apartment's okay, but my apartment building's like an okay
external.
one between two super ghetto ones.
Okay.
There's definitely gangbangers at the one next door, but I think they're protective of me, which is sweet.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Gangbangers in like Crips and Bloods or like porno?
no,
Latino gang?
no, like Crips and Bloods.
Okay,
like
okay.
Crips and Bloods.
I just hear a lot of moaning.
No.
Like, that's someone getting stabbed.
I know, but so here's my question though. Like, how much do you guys care? Because when I date guys, especially when I date rich guys with money, I will try to keep them from knowing where I live for as long as possible. I mean, I'll find excuses forever because I don't want them to think that's why I'm dating them. Like the moment they realize how shitty my place is and how broke I am, they're going to be like, yeah, but do guys care? Like, what do you guys think? Would you date a super, like, not, I'm a super broke, but would you date a chick that's like, in a shitty apartment?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it matters to us like it does to women. Like,
Yeah.
we'll just be
Really?
like, if we're attracted to you, we don't give a damn if you live in a cardboard box. We will
We'll just
show
stay at
up.
our place.
Yeah, just come over.
I don't
just
think
come
there's
over
enough
here.
room in this refrigerator
Right.
box.
Yeah.
So why don't
Seriously?
you?
Yes. Yeah, it doesn't matter. In the long term, it might matter if you're messy or not to me.
I agree with
Oh,
you. I
me
100%.
too.
Is your small apartment
It's
Is
clean?
nice.
your
No, it's
refrigerator
not.
box clean?
Right, yeah.
It doesn't matter how broke you are because I'll tell you, because until it broke down, RIP, I drove a 97 Chevy Cavalier forever. And so the thing is,
Yes.
because I think in this town, so number one, when you see something about somebody, LA is a rap video. Whenever I see diamonds on people, I'm like, those are on loan. Like you don't, like people who have cars
true.
out here, I'm like, that's a lease. So like there's an idea that I'm just aware of it I don't know if I always thought this way or like I came into it later since living out here, but whenever I see somebody, like if they have a T-shirt, if they're like all in Gucci, then I don't necessarily think they're rich. I think maybe they just buy expensive clothes and maybe they're living out of a cardboard box.
Yeah.
Because people prioritize their money in
That's
such
a
a
good
specific
point.
way, especially out here.
Yeah.
Because people wear labels so much. Whereas like I was in New York like 2-3 days ago and a bunch of my friends and I went out. I don't think I noticed a label on anybody in any bar, which doesn't mean to say that they weren't wearing like a Tom Ford suit or I don't
knows?
know. But but out here, I think that there's like, you know, a buddy of mine is super broke, but he leases like an S-Class Mercedes. And I'm like, dude, I think he might live out of it because I'm like, I've never seen his house, and
so
he doesn't
funny.
have like he has like the same 3 outfits. I'm like, if this was a TV show, I'd be like, oh, this is a rerun, even though it's a new episode because
Right.
it looked like he wearing that same jacket.
That's hilarious.
But he's got this S-Class. I'm like, it's fully loaded because he wants girls to think he's
That's
rich.
it. Yep.
So that's what I'm saying. So like,
That's
if you
true.
meet somebody, like whatever they have on, I mean, right now you're wearing a Kiss shirt, and you have your own merchandise, and
Right.
I'm wearing a blank tee. But
Yeah.
those
Right.
we don't know who. Maybe we're all small billionaire. Who knows?
Right.
This is so true. I did have a guy like that who picked me up in a really expensive car. We went out a few times, and he would pay for all my friends. Like one night, I took him out for drinks with all my friends. He paid for everybody. He'd always valet everywhere. It seemed like he had so much money.
Yeah.
And then he owned a house. So finally, I went to his house, and when I rolled up on his house, I was like, what the fuck? Because his house was like kind of ghetto, way in the valley. He had 3 roommates. It was just like, once I saw the situation, I was like, this guy is like totally fronting that he has all, and I wouldn't have cared. That's the thing. I don't.
You can put a filter. Instagram has proven that you can put a filter on anything.
On anything.
Your whole
So
life.
like you own a house. Yeah, you might be part owner of a house, but you might own it with 3 other guys.
Yeah.
It's so
I got a
true.
roommate now, man. I hate it, but hey, man.
You do?
But I let everybody know where I stand on social media and everything. Like, I've been driving
real.
the same car since
Yeah, I never.
2006.
Yeah.
I'm gonna drive it till it dies out.
And I did. I drive
or
it
I
till
give
it
it to my son, whatever comes first.
Yeah.
And then, like, you know, I don't want any falseness. Like, oh, I thought you would know.
Yeah.
You pay attention to my posts. I see
I
it.
knew you didn't follow me on social media.
Yeah.
Wait, so how many kids do you have? 2?
I got 2.
Right, so it's you, 2 boys,
Yeah.
and then a roommate.
A roommate, but my boys stay mainly with their mom.
Oh,
They come-
okay.
It's like 10 minutes away.
Okay.
So it's just
That's
like,
convenient.
you know, they go back and forth. And I got extra comedians staying with me as well, because, you know,
Extra
times are hard. So it's like 4 of us in there.
What?
You know what I
I'm
mean?
gonna
Yeah.
watch this sitcom.
Yeah, man.
Didn't
it's
you
like-
picture that?
No, this is hysterical. I like
four,
this.
4 of them in there, because I can't be like, nah, find your own place. I'm like, all right, you know, you
Oh, that's
crash
cool,
here,
man.
whatever, but
Your
it's
place is like
that's
a
cool.
sober living home
Yeah,
for comics.
basically.
Basically.
Basically. So it's like,
I
but,
think
but
it's
I'm
smart.
real about that. Like, if a woman is interested, I still got a bunk futon, because I can afford a bed, but I'm just like, you know,
Well,
I got
that's
work to do.
That's
I
what
got work
guys.
to do.
I think that's the thing. Like, if you really see somebody who's out there trying, like, to really do it,
Yeah.
and they're not trying to show it, I think that's like them. And that was the thing about when I saw people. The best advice I ever got from this guy who was my mentor when I first moved out here. His name is Max Alexander. He was a really famous comic, and he passed away actually about a year ago. And he said to me, he said, when you're out here now, and just know you're probably going to book a series. Don't buy a car. That was like the first piece of advice he ever gave me. He's like, you need to save that money,
Yep.
and you need to put it back in to your career.
Yeah,
because the
So
people that are
true,
doing
man.
it,
Absolutely.
at the end of the day, until you become like that name or whatever. But even now, fame is so fleeting. Or I mean, fame in terms of like translating to money or like a career.
Right.
You really have to go at it. Think about guys like like Joe Rogan,
Yeah.
who's been around forever.
Forever.
Dude, when I have so much respect for him, because you think about how hard he hustles. When
Yeah.
everybody in America is like, that dude's rich, that dude's famous, he had a sitcom, whatever. I'm like, dude, that guy works harder than almost any.
He's still
he's like one of the
fucking-
hardest working people.
literally.
on planet Earth.
Yeah,
Right,
all the
yeah,
podcasts he
absolutely.
does,
Still.
the UFC, he's at the store. He's literally doing spots every night
Yeah.
and headlining. He hustles so hard. I
Yeah.
know. Same thing with like Joey. I love Joey Diaz,
dude.
right? And Joey has a huge fan base too. And it's
Yeah.
funny because every time I just did his podcast a couple nights ago, and I got messages from people that are like, "It's so cool you get to hang out with Joey. He seems so chill." I'm like, he is chill, but he is the smartest fucking business. Like he is so methodical about every move he
Yeah.
makes. Every hour of his day is structured. And he said to me one time, he was like, I saw you were hanging out at the pool yesterday. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, you can hang out when you made it.
Yeah.
He's like, there's
My
no
mentality.
time to hang out. Yeah, he's like, there's no time to hang out till you made it. He's
Yeah.
like, there's no days off, Kate. There's no
Yep.
days off. That's what he
That's my
said.
mentality.
And I kind of took that like, he's right. There's no
Yeah.
days off. That's why I post so much and shit. Because even when I'm out having fun partying, I'm always working.
Yeah.
It's probably why I can't date either. Because even when I'm on dates the whole time, I'm like, how can I spin this into a bit
Right,
or use
yeah.
this on my podcast?
How can I add this to the mix? Yeah.
Right?
And that's the toughness. But we love it at the same time. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's like,
I don't. Yeah, that's the thing. When you said the first thing you said, I was gone for a month. Because my way is when I'm here, I probably work myself to death. Like I feel
Yeah.
like every time I'm about to go on vacation or something, I always leave sick every time because I've worked to that point,
Right.
knowing full well that I'm going to be gone for a long time.
Yeah.
And so, but I always think like when I go like for gone for that long. It's like, do you know that movie, like The Flight of the Navigator, that old
I
Disney
love
movie,
that
where he
movie.
comes
I
back
remember
and
that.
everything is like totally different?
Yeah.
When you're gone from LA for like a month, because
So
I've done
true.
that,
Yeah.
it's like, it's so weird.
Yeah.
Everything is different.
Yeah.
Because
It's
everything
like
moves so much faster
Yep.
now.
Yeah, it's
So you
almost
gotta
like hitting
stay-
reset.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to stay current on social media while you're gone, so you have the
absolutely.
appearance that you're not.
Yeah.
It's so true. It's amazing how fast you leave and everyone forgets about you. Like
Yeah.
whenever I come back from the road, it always
Uh-huh.
takes me like 2 weeks to get a bunch of spots booked again
Yeah.
because everybody's just
They
like,
forget about you.
"Oh,
Yeah.
you're still here."
Yeah.
But also, I
You
look
still
at people-
doing stand-up.
Yeah.
I have
thought you
seriously
left.
Seriously
Yeah.
taken like 2 weeks off before and had people message me, "Are you still doing comedy?" And
Yeah.
I'm like, "Bitch, I was at the Comedy Store 2 weeks ago."
Oh, you were? Oh, okay. We thought you quit.
Yeah, I thought you died.
Well, so many people
Right?
quit though. So many
Right.
people
Well,
quit.
that's
True.
the thing. As you get like older, or you've been in the game longer, like the people that are there longer, and so there are less new people around. Like I've only been doing stand-up for about 5 years, but I think about the guys that I used to see that were starting out at the time.
True.
I only see like a handful of them
You're
now.
right.
Yeah.
And they're younger dudes, so they have more energy, I think more time maybe than I did. And then every now and then you'll be like, wow, I guess that person just left.
Yeah, a
People
lot of
don't
people
get how
fall
much
by the
time.
wayside.
Yeah.
People don't get how much time and work. Like I get hit up all the time by people that are like a year in, and they're like, "How do you get so many spots? What did you
Absolutely.
do?" What did-"
Yep.
And I go, "I just was there all the. I was
Yep.
there all the." People would go, "Where's Kate Quigley?" She's right there. Like I was just everywhere talking to everybody. That's
Yeah.
it. Until and if people like you and you're cool, that goes so far in
And
this town,
consistent.
too.
That's
yeah.
the thing. You gotta be consistent.
Yep.
Totally.
Like you can't just like show up and then not show up again. You gotta be consistent. That's the key to any success.
Relationships also
Yeah.
consistent, bitches.
Yeah.
I hate
that's
when
it.
people are like, I hate when people start out real consistent and then like 3 months in, they just like fall
Well,
off.
then you know that
Yep.
something else became their priority.
Yeah.
'Cause
Another girl.
everybody, well, but
Oh, female comedians do
Always.
that all the time.
What?
They'll get a man and dip out, and then I was like, I don't see you as much as anymore. Yeah, I'm still out here hustling. Then when they break up, I see them again.
It
back
is
on the
hard.
scene.
Girls have a habit, a bad habit of when we like a guy. I don't know what it is about being a woman because
Yeah.
I still am bad about it. I'm trying to get better, but it's like when you really like a guy, a lot of times you tend to kind of put your shit. You make your shit slightly less of a priority than his. I don't know why it happens, but it's like I see myself doing that when I really like someone. Like I'm always the one that'll sacrifice. Like
Yeah.
one time I canceled a spot to go see a guy.
See?
And then
God
that
damn it,
guy,
Kate.
I swear to God, that guy ended up.
Lauren Michaels was in the audience that night. I mean,
God damn it.
damn it. We
you
tried to
never
tell you
know.
that.
I know.
What happened when
I
you canceled
know.
this gig?
No, I canceled a spot to go see this guy, and then the guy blew me off.
See?
Right?
You see?
And I swear to God, that
He
night
was at the show.
He was there, and he fucked another comic. No, I'm just kidding. No, but he blew me off, and I was like, I'm never canceling a spot for a guy
Absolutely.
again. I never have
Yes.
since. That was like 3 years
Good
ago.
for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you
That's
have
what
to
I'm
take care of
talking
you. I mean, 'cause
Right?
the thing is, you think about the opportunities. When I look back to where I am now, like the timeline about the moments, which may not even be true. They may just be the importance that I put in the moment of what was like a timeline of that really helped me get this, could help me get this, you know? And the truth is, like, that's how it's never going to not be like that, you know? You think
Right.
about somebody like Jimmy Fallon who worked his ass off his whole life.
Yeah.
Now he's working, dude, he's not taking a break on The Tonight Show.
Nope.
He's writing like everything. They're traveling. I mean, he's learning a new impression, a new song in like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm always like, wow. And
Yeah.
that
Right.
guy, if he's working that hard,
You can
Right.
never stop.
you're like, well, when does it take? So he obviously found this great wife who's a producer, and they make it work.
Yeah.
You will find somebody who has the same hustle that you do.
Right.
But you
'Cause
know
if
what?
had
It's a
somebody that-
turn on too, right? Like I think guys get turned on by women that are like when you treat the guy like you're all right, but you ain't all that. I got this shit going over here that's
Yeah.
awesome. Like I got my career. I mean, I think that turns guys on way more than when you
Definitely.
pander to them.
Definitely, absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah, I don't
If I
wanna-
have to tell you, you make some time for me. That
Right?
Yeah.
It's the chase.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's keeping the guy chasing.
But they're as
basically.
busy as you are.
Right.
That's the thing is at the end of the day, like even if you're not thinking about it, you see some potential future with this person, even if it's just like another date. But then like you think about all the time and calculations you do to separate your schedule and time management in little things
Yeah.
that now you've had to add them to this, so they're worth something.
True.
And so
Yeah.
you think like if you want somebody who's in that same position,
Yeah.
not who's like waiting for the phone to ring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
totally.
eventually, if you're gonna, for me, I think I'm gonna fall in love and marry somebody who's busy like me, because you want to be able to build a future like two strong people. I always think steel sharpens steel, because if there's somebody not even successful, because you could have somebody who's behind the scenes, both men and women, who really support, but then they really work their their ass off
Yeah.
Right.
behind. Well, you need that. You don't want to be dragging someone through
Yeah,
life. It may be like
absolutely.
in the beginning, it's like sexy, it's like arm candy, it's whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, that gets old so fucking fast.
For
Right.
sure.
Right.
And then you
Yep.
think like you have to do all your shit, and then you got to do all their shit,
Yeah.
and you're just like,
Nobody got time.
no, you know, that's no. It's true.
We don't.
Ain't nobody
true.
got time for that.
This
man.
is like inspirational. This is like an inspirational episode.
Right?
I feel like we've inspired people to
pumping
work
up.
harder,
Yeah.
pursue your
People
career.
are listening like,
God damn, at the gym. This is their
Pump
80s
it.
movies montage. Like Karate Kidding it right now.
yeah,
Right?
man.
There's other shit. What else? Oh, this has been my favorite topic lately. Tony, you haven't been here in a while. So, which I'm sad you missed because I kind of went crazy. I went crazy on a guy. Like, I mean, full on, like, crazy. And I told this story on here. But the long story short is I found out a guy that I was dating for a while. Then we stopped seeing each other. Then he hit me up to hook up. But he said he missed me. And then we hooked up. And then the next day, I found out he's having a kid with another girl. And he was like, that was just sex.
First of all, congratulations to him.
Congratulations.
Gotta put that in there.
Yeah, come on.
Okay.
We're
so
not
I-
monsters
It's a
here.
blessing.
No.
Thank you. He knows you have two of them.
Yeah.
Come on
It's a
now.
blessing.
It's a blessing. It's a blessing for him. Yeah. But so we get in this huge fight about it because I was like, why did you hit me up? Because I specifically asked, do you just want to fuck or do you miss me?
What did he say?
He said, no, I miss you. I really want to see you. The reason we got in a fight is because after the sex, he kicked me out at 3:00 in the morning. He was like, you can't stay over. And I was like, why? And he's like, because I don't want you to get confused about what this is. And I was like, but I asked you before I came.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we get in a fight. I leave, right? The next day, I'm like blowing him up. Like, why did you kick me out? Trying to get an answer. He finally admits he's having a kid with another girl. So I told this story on here already, right? And I actually wasn't that pissed because we weren't together.
Yeah.
You know, but I was pissed that he like lied to fuck me. Was
Yeah.
basically
That's
the
what
thing.
he did.
Yeah.
Right? But then it gets better. So then,
He has you on his phone as last hurrah.
Yeah.
no, you're gonna die when I tell the end of this. So I haven't told the end of this on here. So I go to Texas for a gig. Okay, I'm in Texas. He texts me and he's like, "Why the fuck did you do what you did? You're totally ruining my life." Okay, well, one thing I did, and this is what I thought he was talking about, is I told a bunch of my friends, like Stephen Kramer Glickman, like a bunch of my friends with big social media followings, what he did to me and what a piece of shit he is, and they all started trolling him on social media.
Yeah.
So I thought that's what he meant, which I'm like, come on, dude, they're just fucking around with you.
Right.
You can delete that shit, whatever. No, he goes, you ruined my relationship. And I'm like, what? So then I call him. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
What relationship? You have a girlfriend? Because I asked him like 40 times if he had a girlfriend. He's like, well, I didn't, but I do now. And did you talk about me on your podcast? And I was like, not by name,
Right.
but yeah, I always talk about you. And he goes, did you say I'm having a kid? And I was like, I was like, well, I said someone is having a kid. I didn't say who you are, you know.
Is his girlfriend Sherlock Holmes? I mean, how did you figure this out?
Apparently,
know women are
his
sharp.
girlfriend listens to the show.
Yeah.
And I don't know how she put it together. I have no fucking idea. I don't know. But the girlfriend is not the baby mom.
Oh, the plot thickens.
And I don't think she knew that he was having a kid. I think she found out from this podcast. So he called me and he's like, you ruined my life. And I was like, nah, bitch, you ruined your
Yeah.
life.
This dude is
You shouldn't have
treacherous.
fucked me if you had this happening. You shouldn't have fucked me if you had a girlfriend. Like,
How is
this
he going to hide that baby?
Right.
Well, I mean, how hard is it to hide a baby if you're a guy?
I mean, you can.
This is like the plot of an 80s movie starring
Right?
Steve Gutenberg. Hide that baby.
Rob Lowe.
Rob Lowe, Steve Gutenberg.
He said
and
the
a
baby mom was just somebody he kind of like hooked up with a few times, which I have a friend like that who fucked a girl twice and she happened to get pregnant and he
All
has
it
a
takes
kid.
is one.
Yeah, so I mean, like, but you could like kind of hide. I don't know, but all I know is it was like the craziest moment of karma when he called and told me that.
Wow.
Right? But then I was like, all right, listen, I didn't say your name, but I'm sorry that went down like
Yeah.
that, but that's kind of your own fault, you know?
Right.
And then the next day I like tweeted something like karma's a bitch, da-da-da. And then he called
came
me
back.
again and was like, now you're tweeting about it? I'm like, how do you even know?
He follows you.
I've been blocked on Twitter. So
He blocked you.
I blocked him on
Nah,
Twitter.
but he didn't block his friends.
I know, I know.
Well, how did he see that? He probably got a fake
That's what I'm
account so he
saying.
can
Yeah.
watch.
Who knows? But the point is, I went like insanely crazy about all this shit. Like, but then I
What you mean
got
by
like
crazy?
I got
What'd
like
you do?
45. I got a burner app that you can get like 45 phone numbers on your phone, and I started like texting him from all these different. I have a whole bit about it now though, which is great. But I started texting him from all these different phone numbers, like to fuck with him, like pretending to be different people and like talking. Every couple of days, I would just text him from a random number and go, "Just a reminder, you're a piece of shit." Like I was being crazy, but.
Kate is
Guys,
wild
if
as
you
hell,
date
dog.
Kate
Kate
Quigley,
is
just so
wild
you know,
as
this
hell.
might happen.
I'm glad you don't date comedians. I'm
No,
safe
listen.
from
We
that.
lost, because we lost a lot of good, we lost a lot of good soldiers
No, but
Right.
here's the thing.
in World War Q.
Only if you lie.
Only if you lie.
I am so down with honesty. Like I can date a guy.
Everybody lies. I mean, I don't mean us. I'm saying like,
Well, everybody
we're
lies.
the three of us
You're
in this
right.
room are truthful. But I'll tell you what, I asked
All
this,
the time.
I asked this girl
All
a few
the
years
time.
ago, point blank, "Do you have a boyfriend?" Because I thought she had a boyfriend because
Yeah.
she deleted me and all. We were not really like social media friends. I met her forever ago, and I realized like when I went back to like check, because I like hadn't seen her in a while, and I was like, oh, well, I wonder what tonight's about, if she's just like hanging out with me or whatever. And I knew that the last time I'd seen, when we were like friends on social media, she had a boyfriend and stuff. And then I could only see like limited stuff for her on
Yeah.
Facebook.
Yeah.
And then I asked her point blank so many times before, and then we wound up hooking up. And this is like I said, this is a while ago. But then she totally did.
Why do people lie?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't understand it. Like I
Oh, no.
I never called her out, by the way. I never called her out after it. I was like, whatever that was in my head, I go, my conscience I was clear. Because then I was like, oh, maybe she did break up with him.
Yeah.
And then I was like, no. And then she she was returning my text. And after we hooked up, she like wasn't, or it was very cryptic in the time she'd return them.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you're not with there's no regularity now to the time
Right.
you're communicating with me. And so I was like, okay. And it turns out she did have a boyfriend. He was just out of
Slippery
town.
bastard.
Why do people lie? Like that's what I
know.
don't. Well, the thing is with this, I've only went crazy ever twice on two guys, and both times it was like guys that I was like super into. We were really
Yeah.
dating. They really like. I wouldn't do it over a guy that like we went out a few times or we
Yeah.
dated for a few months. But like, yeah, if I'm like telling you I'm crazy about you and you lie to fuck me,
Yeah.
and then I find all this shit out that there's this big triangle,
That's tough, yeah.
dude.
Yeah, that's tough. I'm sorry.
If
That's
he
okay,
had
I'm
said
fine
it's
now.
just sex, would you have still done it?
Well, that's the thing, and that's what I told him. I go, if you had told me, I probably still would have come.
Yeah.
And then
Hey.
if I got hurt, it's on me.
Or he could have said, will you come on over and have sex? And you're like, do you want to have sex? Do you miss me? And you're like, no, I'm having a baby. I want to celebrate.
Yeah. Like, can we get in? on
Trying to
the
make
celebration?
another
Thank
one.
you.
Can you help me? Oh, you're not happy about my baby?
That's for the
Oh, you
baby.
don't want to fuck me?
Yeah.
That reminds me of an episode of Law and Order SVU. where
That's
this-
how it started.
That's
circle.
it. It
Full
all comes
circle.
full circle.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, my thing is, if a guy is real, like I had the best booty call in my life for months, and he was like, the first time I met him, he was like, I don't want to date you, but I'd love to fuck you, but I don't want to date anybody.
Yeah.
But I'm looking for,
And
someone
you
cool
still,
to just
you
hook
still
up with.
did it with him, huh?
Well, he is so hot,
Okay.
and I was at the time not dating anyone or
See,
fucking anyone.
This is all I want.
That's what you want? Just a good booty
Yeah.
call? Well,
I just want to be used for sex and kicked out of the crib.
here's what you got to do.
This guy's single now, I think, right?
This guy?
Oh, no. He
Which
was saying
guy?
he just wants to be used for sex and kicked out of the crib. The guy having the baby is never with anybody.
Well, no, I don't think his girlfriend dumped him. I think she just was very upset.
And now we're talking about her now, which she will.
I don't know. I hope she still doesn't.
She's listening
If
now.
she's listening, I would just like to say, I wish all the best to all three of you.
Yeah.
And that baby.
And the baby, all four, man.
Yeah,
Come on
thank
now.
you. Come on now. Don't forget that baby. The
baby
I feel like
is
that baby's going to
essential
be forgotten
to the plot.
about. We're not even
The
mentioning
baby
the
is
baby.
key to the plot.
But yeah. So would you? I lost my train of thought. I had a question
I mean,
coming. It's
I
gone
think
now.
like there's something convenient in that, because there's definitely girls that I've liked and then like hooked up with, and then I'm kind of like, oh, I'm super busy, but then I wind up falling for them.
Yeah.
And then I think, oh, fuck, because then it was like I felt like the relationship or that what we had established was not that, and then I'm like, oh no, now I like have feelings
Then what
for
do
this
you do?
person. Kill
Wait,
myself.
so you're
I don't
saying
know.
it can go from, because I have this theory that if you fuck a guy as just a hookup, it's impossible for him to eventually catch feelings. But
Nah.
really?
That's not true.
Really?
Yeah, that's not true at all.
Interesting.
I will say this though: the ones that I've been super passionate about, I knew like right away. Like I'm somebody, there was. I was talking to a friend who said you should never date those girls because
That's
if you
true.
have fireworks. But the truth is, like for me, that's the one that really like that makes me like that changes me inside. I'm like, oh, that's the person, you know, because like I'm not like when I go out with my friends, like even like last night, you know, I was just hanging at the Improv, and I wasn't like looking. I think it's not on my radar. Like for me, when I go out, I try to go out every night just to do the socializing we were talking about. But I think that the nights that I try to do like the looking around, that's like in my brain. It's never that like I'm like casually out and I'm like, oh, that girl looks hot, let me go talk to her. Like last night I was just out hanging with friends.
Yeah.
So and so for me, when I notice somebody, I'm like, boom, right at them.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Actually, I wish I could remember the website. I was reading about, so I've been trying to do like self-help shit. After the going crazy, I was like, maybe I need to examine. Like I actually called my lawyer and was like, how bad can I fuck with someone before I go to jail? Like it was like that bad.
Funny.
So But I started watching these like videos about relationship addiction and being attracted to narcissists. 'Cause I'm super attracted to like extreme narcissists, right?
Wow. Okay.
So that was one of the things they said is if you meet someone, and if I think about it in my life, this is so accurate. If you meet someone and you feel like you've known them forever and you have like instant chemistry and really intense heat, that means there's something in your subconscious, there's something about them that is like from your damaged childhood or your broken home or the parent that beat you. There's something that you need from them to feel fulfilled, so you'll become like crazily addicted to them and the relationship will be toxic. So basically they say you should run.
I think that that's maybe true for me, but I'm definitely gonna run towards those people.
That's what we
like we
With
do.
your dick out.
Like I don't. 'Cause the thing is, like,
first.
when I'm not shy, that's the thing is, if I really like someone,
Yeah.
I'm not shy about it because I think like what do I have to lose? And if they don't like me, or I don't want to sit here and try to convince this person. Because I think when I was younger, I would think I like somebody, and then I would always think of myself like, well, if I could convince them that I'm like this super interesting, like hilarious guy who's going somewhere in life, they'll want to be on board. But I'm like, then I thought to myself as I got older, I'm like, why the fuck would I want to? I'm not Christianity. I'm not here to convert people.
Right.
Like, you know, if either they're into the Kool-Aid or they're not. And so when I like somebody, though, like I'll go up and directly and really try to not like make it happen, but just like feel it out and really put myself out there.
Yeah.
Because for me, that's important. And I think about the type of person that I am in life, about how intense I am about other areas of my life. I think like relationships for me, like I am, if I have feelings for somebody, I'm like 110% for them all the time.
I get that. But let me ask you this. Does this happen to guys? Because this is what happens, I think, often with girls. Like, say I meet you, we have instant connection, instant heat, we get along really well, we spend a bunch of time together real quick.
Yeah.
Then we start fucking.
Yeah.
The sex is great. So let's say it's been like a month of that.
Okay.
The truth is, in a month, you don't really know someone super well,
Right.
especially in those relationships. A lot of times, you never get into the deep conversations because you immediately feel like you know each other.
Right.
So I've found with me that like then what happens is you start to realize maybe you don't have as much in common
Right.
as you thought initially.
Yeah, that's happened to me.
Right? But the problem is for girls, once all that initial like heat is there and that chemistry and the sex attachment, we start trying to find ways to go, I'll make it work anyway somehow.
Yeah.
Do guys do that?
Yeah.
Or for a guy, once you realize that, is it just like, now we just fucking? Or do you try to make it?
It depends on the physical connection aspect of it. Like, man, it's like, I really want to make this work. And then we just like, you know what? Just slide it. Because I've been through that, like, 2015. Me and a girl had that. For like a month, we were hot and heavy and then faded out. But I knew, like, man, she be cussing people out. She's mean. She's this, that, and the third. But I was still just like, oh, she's so sexy. Though.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. I try to look for those signs right now.
Yeah.
And not
And
that
then
I'm like
we
trying
kinda-
to sabotage shit, but like I went on a date with a girl and she said something that was like vaguely racist. And I was kind of like, ooh. So I'm like, no matter what I think from now on, whenever I think about her as a Klansman. Or a Klanswoman, sorry.
Yeah.
PC
You're like
listeners.
trying to jerk off to her. You're picturing her with like
the
the
hood.
white.
Yeah. But that could be anybody then.
Right.
That's the thing. If she's in the hood, that's my point.
Could
She
be a
could be. It
ghost.
could be anyone. I could be jerking off to ghosts.
Are you good at that though? Like spotting the red flag and then walking away, or do you still?
Yes, I haven't. I never talked to her after that. And I'll tell you,
Wow.
the thing is, for me, what I really try to do is because everybody has things that you're not going to like, and I think like, but the point is like, I remember in my youth, like so I'd be like, man, I don't like that about them, and my friends were like, you idiot, it was there on day one. We all didn't like that about her, and I let my own feelings blind me.
I do that.
So now
Women do that all the time.
I listen like more harder than I ever have before because I really want to hear what they're saying or where they're coming from. Like immediately, like if I think that this could go further than the night, because if it's just for like that night, like hey, we're here to have fun, we're partying, but I'm like if you invest time in someone and then you're like, damn it, I didn't realize it, she was racist. Like that's a big thing.
Yeah.
You know what? You're right. Women ignore those flags.
All the
I
time.
think so. Like I'm even sitting here thinking right now about the guy with the love triangle thing, and I remember the first date we went on, him saying something about like how his roommate is so clueless because like one time he was out with his roommate and he met this girl and he was like flirting and they exchanged info and he was like trying to hook up, whatever. And then he left and went home. And then he said he goes, and then I'm in bed with my girlfriend at the time and my roommate brings this girl back to the place and is like, yo man, I got that girl to come back if you want to hook up. And he's in bed with his girlfriend. So he told me on the first date
out the gate,
Yeah.
you knew
that he was exactly.
You know why? Unless people are sociopaths, and there are plenty of you out there, that it is a very hard thing to hide, especially at our age. Like when as you get older, you can't hide your flaws because you care less about it in other aspects of your life. So what are you going to do? Only when you're trying to have sex with a girl, you're going to lie so well and so specifically for getting laid. It doesn't happen because you get more set in your ways the older you get. I think that's why young people are there's a difference. Like people that are great older who are liars, watch out. Those people are. Those are con men and women. You know what I mean? Because they do it professionally.
Right.
And young people do it because they don't hold any value in it. Like white lies just kind of build up on top of each other and they lie in small aspects so it kind of all makes sense to them.
Yeah.
And so if one of those people, but I think a lot of those people that maybe even like fucked around when they were younger, they sort of let it go. When they're older, and if they're doing it when they're older, they can't hide it. So he was letting you know without letting you know right away.
And I ignored it. I just was like, I like his muscles.
Yeah. She made that mental note and was like, but
I can't hear him over his muscles.
Yeah.
I can't. All I hear is abs.
So loud.
My friend Jackson said to me the other day, I was telling him that I want to hook up with this guy, but I go, he seems shady. And he goes, trust your gut, not his abs.
Right.
And I was like, that's the best line.
Did you repost that?
I did.
Oh, yeah.
I
I felt like I saw it.
Yeah. That's what you should put on a T-shirt.
I know, right? It's brilliant. Well, it's Jackson McQueen.
Jackson McQueen.
I went out on a date last night with a guy, and he, at very end of the date, he was like, I have a little test for you before we leave. And I was like, okay. But
was it like Fear Factor?
I felt like that. I was like, what the fuck is going to happen?
You had to purify yourself in the water of the Lake Minnetonka?
Right. He's like, it's an STD test. Pee on this strip.
This is a long car ride. Where are we going?
No. So he goes, this was actually kind of interesting. So you guys should take this with you and use it. He goes, okay, so there was this girl. He goes, there were these two girls in this small town, 21 and 23. And they had this mom and dad who were married, and they were this happy family. Everyone in the town loved this family. They had like a business, and the mom had a heart attack and died suddenly. So they had, a big memorial service for the mom, and the two girls were there, and the dad, and everyone in the town came out to support this family. And at this memorial service, the younger girl, the 21-year-old, she saw this guy across the room, and it was like what you were talking about. Like, she knew immediately. She's like, oh my God, I have to talk to that guy. Like, everything about him. She was like, that's the guy I'm going to marry. Like, she just had love at first sight, right? So she's trying to get over to talk to him, but people keep stopping her to give their condolences, and she keeps like looking over at him, and they keep making eye contact, but then she looks up again, and the guy's gone, and it turned out he had left, and she didn't get to talk to him. So then, that's that. The whole memorial service ends. And then 3 days later, this girl murders her older sister. So the question is, why do you think she murdered the older girl?
Because the older girl wound up fucking that guy.
That's what I said. What do you think?
That's what I was thinking, too. That was the first thing that came to mind.
'Cause the older
That's
girl-
the easy route.
Yeah.
Okay.
You set it up.
Okay.
This
That
really
way.
is Law and Order, SVU.
Right?
Da,
Yeah.
da, 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 da. Okay, so that's a normal answer, right? I said at first, I was like, because the older girl tried to fuck that guy, and then I was like, or did the older girl murder the mom? Like, I was like, I don't know.
That guy.
Or I couldn't think of anything, right? And then the guy goes to me, goes, that's a healthy answer. Your answers are healthy. He goes, the reason I ask people this is because apparently this is a psychological test that was done in a study with a bunch of normal people and a bunch of sociopaths and serial killers. And all the sociopaths and serial killers had the same answer, which was she killed her older sister so there would be another memorial service so that guy would come back and she could meet that guy. And they said 90% of the sociopaths and serial killers came up with that answer right away. Then there's a little tiny percentage of people that weren't sociopaths and serial killers that were just geniuses. Wow. That was like 5%. Also came up with that answer. But everyone else that was normal was like, well, I don't know, why the fuck would she kill her sister? Because like no one could think of a reason. So he said, I always ask this to girls on the first date because I know right away you're a sociopath.
Wow.
If you
And
get
what
it
he said was, he goes, and I'm that guy.
Right.
That story was
For him
about.
to know about the test, he's the guy.
Yeah, he's the dude from the. He goes,
He's the
I
sociopath
just didn't-
slash
I
serial
know.
killer.
Yeah.
You're probably right. Well, it doesn't matter. But
those are like weird
right?
brain fucks. Because now I'm like thinking,
Right.
well, maybe.
Now,
Well, what I thought is that's brilliant.
Yeah. I'm like,
Right?
man, talk about.
did him giving you that test, was that a turn on for the date?
No.
It was a turn off, right?
Well, I thought the test was kind of smart, but at that point I was already like kind of.
Over it.
Because you're not attracted to him? Because Kate is mad shallow. Let's get that out the way. She all about.
I am not
you
shallow.
all about the
Look-
beefcakes.
Well, no. It's not about what they look like. It's about the sexual chemistry. Because I have fucked guys that are out of shape, but we've had good sex.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's chemistry.
What's wrong
Like if
about
they're
Kate?
real funny, but I'm not gonna lie. If I look across a bar, and I see a hot athlete over there with a bunch of tattoos, and over here I see, like some big, plump,
Yeah,
jolly looking
Seth
Santa
Rogen
Claus
build.
dude, I'm gonna go talk to that
course you
athlete
are.
first. But
course.
it doesn't mean I wouldn't give other guy a chance.
You give him a chance, but visually you be like, oh, okay, I see you over here, 8-pack McGee.
Oh please, like guys aren't the same.
Oh, we definitely are, but
We are.
we get the flack for it. Like y'all aren't. That's my beef.
Bitches should be shallow too. We deserve hot men.
I'm not saying you don't. I'm just saying acknowledge the shallowness
I don't think
as well.
it's shallow to want to date someone that you're
mean,
physically attracted to.
But y'all, we're more shallow. Cause like you said, you'll make concessions and give the guy with the gut a chance.
Yeah.
We'll be like, she got the gut though. We'll hang in that longer.
Really?
Yeah, we'll be like, she ain't got no ass.
I think guys come up with one thing.
And
Like-
we
we're like,
harp on it. We
It could even be like I don't think it's always physical. I think somebody does something. I mean, I guess that one thing for that girl I went on a date with was racism. But
Right.
like we like right away you pick something. I feel like guys do that all the time, where they like pick something and they go, nah, I don't.
It's like Seinfeld. It's like that. That
Man
was like a
hands.
running thing on Seinfeld, right? Like the one little thing.
yeah. We
We'll be
just
like,
can't.
the hands.
That's it. We have to go soon, but before we do, we ask everybody about their worst date fail. Although lately I've also been asking if you've ever had someone just be like psycho crazy on you, like the way I was psycho crazy on that guy. Do you have any super crazy
Psycho crazy on me.
or worst date ever? You probably told a worst date ever last time you were on here, but that was a long time ago.
That was a long
You had
time
any
ago.
terrible dates since then? Awful sex? Anything?
I had. God, now I'm like, I don't date. I mean, if you know me, I don't date all that often.
date
So
much.
like, I haven't been on any dates since 3 years when we had that last. No,
Shut up.
I'm kidding. But I'm just like, I have been in prison. No, I'm trying to think of like the worst date I ever had. Because I think like, you know what it is? There was somebody that I had met that we hit it off right away, and then the next time I saw them, it was like. It couldn't have been. It was so weird because we didn't see each other for like 6 months, and I was like, oh, we should meet up, and then it was like it was so terrible and so weird. It was like we didn't have any connection the time before, and it was like it
Weird.
was so
Wonder
weird.
why.
I have no.
Were you drunk the
idea.
first time or buzzed?
Always? No, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know. No, I don't think so. But I think it was one of those things where it just, for whatever it was like really nice in the moment. And I think like maybe, I don't know if women do this, but I think guys tend to like fantasize that, where it's like it was such an amazing night or whatever it was, and then maybe because I knew I would never see her again.
Yeah.
In my head, I was like, we at least had that night, and it was really special.
Did you guys hook up that night?
Yeah, we did.
Oh.
We did. But it was great. And then I spent a little bit more time with her. This was when I was traveling overseas.
Yeah.
And then like 6 months later, it just so happened that I was going to be near there again.
How strange.
And so I was like, hey. And then she's like, oh, yeah, maybe you could stay with me. And I was like, yeah, that'd be cool. I was only there for like literally 48 hours going somewhere else. And it was like, it was like awful. It was so awful. So my buddy came with me, and he was staying at the hotel like maybe a block away. I wound up spending the second night at the hotel with him.
Oh, shit.
But it was this was a while ago. This is like maybe just when the show started. So like it's been like 6 years or something. But it was one of those things where I was like, oh no, maybe I don't know. I lose track of time that way. But it was one of those things where I was so surprised.
Wow. I wonder if that's because in her head she was like, because I've hooked up with guys that then I won't like really hear from them much for a while, and in my head I'll be like, I thought that guy was real into me, or we had a real good time, and I'll be kind of weirded out that I don't hear from them. But then when they hit me up again, I think maybe I'll give them a second shot, but then the minute I see them, I go back into like, this fucker didn't hit me up again.
But it was like, but
like,
we knew we didn't live.
true.
That commute would have killed us.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It was
It's
like
weird.
So I don't think there was any expectation that we were together or anything, and I don't think that either of us lied about. I just think it was one of those things where, because I have had that where there were people that in my life that keep coming back into it, and there's a lot of passion, and I'm like, oh my God, that person, you know?
Yeah.
But this was like balancing all those times out in the universe.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That was like a
it's-
life fail.
It was like,
Date my ass. That was a life fail.
Man, shit. Well, Tony, I just realized it's so late, and you said you had to leave at 3:30, and it's
Yeah, I
past
gotta sprint.
3:30. Tony has to go. He warned us up top. We have to go
It's
anyway.
all good, man. We were in the moment.
Yo, this was a really great. This was so fucking fun. John, you're the best. Thank you
for having
being
me.
here. Tony, I missed you.
I missed you.
And we didn't get to talk about your sexcapades,
We'll do
so
it. We'll
we're
do
gonna
it
have to
next
do
one.
it next one
Yeah,
because
we'll do
Tony Baker getting it in.
on.
Guys, make sure you follow at Tony Baker Comedy. Tony, this will air Friday. You got anything this weekend you want people to come out to?
I'll be at the Brea Improv.
With Finesse.
Yeah, with Finesse
cool.
Mitchell, Thursday through Sunday. So if you're listening to this on Friday, we got 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday, 1 show Sunday. Come
Boom.
out.
And I'm at the Comedy Store Saturday night, Friday night. If you're listening to this on Friday, I'm at the Ice House with Jonathan Kite for Death Squad. And Jonathan, where are you at? What you got?
I'm at, you guys won't hear this, but on Friday, the night before, I will have been at Indie Brew Co.
And they can follow you where?
At Jonathan Kite for Twitter and Instagram.
At Jonathan Kite. He's
Yep.
got that blue check mark, so slide into his
Hey.
DMs.
So just look for it. Just look for it.
Guys, this has been Date Fails. Thank you guys all for supporting, especially for my Patreon supporters. I really appreciate you, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
right.
Woo!
All right.